Hello YouTube, Corey Tucholsky, Dad of the Rings here. You can visit me on my website, www.dadoftherings.com. For more information, obviously, I fly my geek flag high no matter where I go or what I do. But holy crap, I just about lost it when I saw an advertisement on Instagram a few days back for Keller's Keep and Return of the Witch Lord. I thought it must be 1993 again because HeroQuest hasn't been available since then, and those were the 2 expansion packs that were released. And then I come to find out, by clicking on the link, that Avalon Hill has made a deluxe edition of HeroQuest and both of its quest packs. The price range is pretty steep, but I was considering it anyway, even though it's probably a bit of a splurge and I shouldn't do it. Well, today I was at the mall with my kids and walked into GameStop, and what did I see? The thing I didn't think was available in stores. Yes, that's right. The HeroQuest game system itself. So I just couldn't resist. I had to buy it, and in the process of opening it, I realized that I have a video here. So we're gonna go to the kitchen. We're gonna go to my dining room table right now, and we are gonna unbox this sucker and see what we got. All right, so this is what the box looks like. The box art's quite similar to the first series box art. The Barbarian looks like he's got a little bit more armor on as opposed to just bare-shirted. And looks like a lady. Oh, it's an elf. Maybe they're elves. Female. We got the dwarf here. He's got his big axe as always. Definitely the wizard. That was very similar to the wizard we had before. And he's fighting some zombies. And that's definitely a much more interesting Chaos Warlock looking character. That might be more reminiscent of the actual Witch Lord, who was the main villain of the first quest pack. Now, I haven't opened this yet, so I don't know if they're going to just duplicate the first quest pack or if they're going to do something different with it. Now, let's take a look here at how ridiculously thick this is. Like, check this out. This box is absolutely huge. Very thick, very big. And so the artwork is incredible on the box. You can see the heroes right there. That's I can already tell by the pictures their bases are a heck of a lot better than the little thin plastic things that we had. Barbarian, dwarf, elf, wizard, your typical hero adventuring band. So let's get this sucker open and see what we've got on the inside now that we're done talking about the packaging. Okay, so sorry in advance for the lighting. This is why I had the package standing straight up. When you finally get the box lid off, what happens is when you pull this tray, these are actually individual trays, and you pull 2 trays out of here, like so. And then that leaves us with the game board, which is what I'm assuming that is. And you know what? Honestly, that might have been from my dining room table. It still has some crumbs on it. I apologize for that. And then we have these guys packaged up. So let's get this open and see what this is. So yeah, indeed, you can see from the pictures, the first thing that I pulled out of there was a Game Master screen, and I don't like this. This is a really steep angle on the side flaps on both of them. It makes it difficult, like it makes it sit back at a weird angle, and if you try to put the flaps out a little bit more, it increases the angle a little bit. I don't really like that idea. Now, HeroQuest is my bag. I love HeroQuest. This was one of my favorite games, even though I really never got much of a chance to play. And I can clearly see the monsters are different than the original game. We have the goblin, the skeleton, and the zombie here an orc. So the goblin, the orc, and then it was a Famir. But I believe it is copyrighted by Games Workshop, and Games Workshop appears to have little to no involvement with this. The Abomination appears to replace the Famir, and then the Dread Warrior appears to replace the Chaos Warrior. So right off, we have some different sets of monsters. Now, let's see. So yeah, but the artwork is still phenomenal and fantastic, and I love this gargoyle just right in front, like coming up. He's the general. He's ready to fight. And you got your greenskins off to the side here, and your undead off to the... Oh, they're the undead? I think they're like the undead off to the other side. So yeah, right off the bat, Game Master screen, I don't care for the angle, and I can see the monsters are different, but other than that, I'm loving the artwork. It's beautiful. It actually looks better, I think, than the original game system. I'll put them side by side as much as I can, and we'll take a look and see what I got, but that's definitely a major here. The two things I really wanted to see were the game board itself and then this quest book, and I wanted to see, because I practically have the early quests memorized for this book, and I kind of wanted to see if they were... that's definitely a reprint of Quest 3, the Lair of the Orc Warlord, which means number 2 is probably Sir Ragnar. Yep. There's Sir Ragnar in the same spot he was in the first one. It's interesting that I have this memorized, isn't it? In Quest 1, the trial, you gotta hunt down the gargoyle. I do remember that, and that's the gargoyle right there. So yeah, it looks like we're gonna do a reprint of almost all of the first quest. I'll take a look at it in a little bit more detail later, and hopefully maybe they'll have a little bit of difference in this. But right now it looks like it's kind of the same sort of thing. This is the rule book. I'll have to read that. I assume the rules are going to be the same, if not identical. Cardboard sheet. I got the spiral staircase, the doubles. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's something new. The skulls. I remember those were used to keep track of monster hit points. You put them underneath the monsters as they got hit. They really only had like 1, 2, or 3 hit points. And looks like we've got the pit traps. We got the block squares. And then on the back, secret doors. We got the blocked squares, and those look new too. Gates, and a down staircase, not a spiral staircase like it is on... These are usually used for the entrance and the exits of the quests, and then these are the downstairs. I wonder if that's maybe used to connect multi-layer quests. Alright, so that just leaves us with the game board itself. Our game board, I can't really do much about the glare, so again, I'm going to go ahead and apologize for that. Now, I drew this thing out so many times on graph paper when I would design my own quests. That, of course, never got played because I had no friends growing up. So I had the layout memorized, and this is exactly the layout of the first board. Now, what I'm going to end up having to do is take a look at the original board that I have in a moment here. We'll get to that later and see if the colors match up, because the colors, I honestly don't remember if those are the same or not. It seems to me like this room here with the checkerboard pattern was actually blue, but I don't know. So the differences in these boards is actually starker than I had at first thought. This is the original board. If I zoom out a bit, you can actually see that the new board is bigger. Let's zoom in a little closer and look at the original board, and then look at the same area on the new board, and you can see, oops, I'm sorry, and you can see there's a lot more detail. And there's a lot more, detail actually on the new boards. It's more three-dimensional looking. That still has about the same level of detail. This room is all cracked. There's some rocks there. But you see it's largely empty on the new board. And you can see the corridors have a little, the corridor tiles have a little more detail as far as compared to the first one. So there is a lot more going on this board than there is in the previous board. Slide open the second tray, and here we have the monsters. So this is your gargoyle, and that looks like a big... And again, the gargoyle from the first one, you had to assemble. And this has to be what they call the Dread Knight, which apparently replaces the Chaos Warrior. This is the Abomination. This apparently replaces the Famir, because that would be under copyright from Games Workshop. The Chaos Warlock figure, or whatever they're deciding to call it, definitely looks a lot more advanced and a lot cooler. I am not sure what these things are. I guess I will have to look that up. I was correct. The elf is now female. And there's a lot more detail to the individual minis than there was on the original, because the wizard just had a simple staff on the first one, and this one has a half moon. Again, it's kind of sad that I know all of this by heart. And I was correct. The dice have the squared off edges as opposed to the rounded edges, which I have been told are far more random when they're rounded edges like that, but I don't really know if that's true. I haven't tested it myself. I'm already nervous for the Dread Warrior, because I can see the mace that it's carrying is quite loose and already looks like it's warping a bit. So that's gonna probably be an issue as far as sturdiness, but these pieces are printed, or 3D printed, or are molded a lot better than the other ones were. This is a lot thicker, a lot heavier, more heavier plastic. The pieces of furniture, as I believe I previously discussed, are far heavier plastic, and they are, instead of cardboard being bent around molded plastic, they actually are fully molded plastic. So this is actually this is actually going to be a lot sturdier, despite the mace problem that I noted just a moment ago, so which is going to be excellent. And the doors, as we saw, were the same molded plastic instead of cardboard in a stand. Character sheets. Same character sheet. The old one came with maybe 20 of these things. This is a nice big thick pad, so this will last you a while. And if not, we now have a little bit better desktop publishing technology that I can run copies of, like I did with my Clue game. Cards show the starting stats and a picture of everybody. In addition to the hero cards, there is another card that has everything you can do on a turn. That's always good. This is a better, more advanced drawing, and of course we now have pictures of each monster, the zombie and all of the other creatures. And the other cards, of course, include the typical wizard and elf spell cards, the water, the earth, fire, and air. I have no reason to believe that these will be anything but Tempest, Swiftwind, Genie, Ball of Flame, Courage, Fire of Wrath. Nope, these are all the same spells that we had from the original game system. And then you have artifact cards. This does appear to be a new artifact card. I do not remember this one in the original game system. Other than that, they all seem to be the same things. Equipment cards. Now this replaces the cardboard platform in the game system, because you see if you draw these cards, you will note toolkit. Remember when we could buy that in the original game system, the toolkit would give you a 50% chance to disarm a trap. And then dread spells instead of chaos spells. And treasure cards. And again, draw a random one, and it's more than likely a wandering monster or other sort of hazard card. Alright, so now that I've had a chance to go back through the game materials in the booklets, it's copied and pasted from the original. There's no change to the game system. So, that creates some drawbacks. Number one, the enemies kind of are weenies, the way as written. So, I would create some house rules. I've seen some people online suggest maybe going to, or suggest maybe using the white shields instead of the black shields to defend for the enemies. I think that's a really good idea. You may maybe increase their body points somewhat. The strongest enemy in the strongest enemy that's not like the final boss character only has 3 body points, and the wizard himself, the weakest of your party, has 4. And the final enemy boss actually has 4 body points. So they're not really terribly strong creatures, and they don't present much of a challenge. The quests, though, the positive end of HeroQuest is that it's a different game every time you play. You can set up the board in an infinite number of combinations and create an infinite number of things that you can, an infinite number of challenges. And that's actually half the fun of the game itself, because you can, and they provide a blank space for you to do it, and you can basically design your own quests. Now, there is a computer program. I will link to it in the description. It's called HeroScribe. Now, I've used it to create my own quests online. You might be able to use it too. Now, I don't know if the makers are going, at the time of this video, I don't know if the makers are going to include an update or are going to include the ability to use the new HeroQuest symbols in this game. I just have to say the nostalgia of this probably is clouding my review a lot, but I would have to say this is a great game, a great buy. This, to me, was worth every penny of the $125.99 plus tax that I ended up having to pay for it. It is a beautiful game. The minis are solid, except for some of the notes that I made in the review themselves with the mace on the Dread Warriors. But it's a great update to the system, and even if all of the rules and all of the quests were just copy and paste. So I would highly recommend going out there and getting one. If you want to help the channel grow, I will provide a link in the description to my affiliate link. You can buy it through that, and then the channel will get a little bit of the money for that. And check out, if you want to make your own quest, check out HeroScribe. Maybe with the update, they're going to go ahead and do some of their, maybe an update, I hope. That would be lovely if they did. If you hear me, HeroScribe, you guys got to do an update. All right, so I will catch you next time. You folks have a wonderful day, and don't forget to let that geek flag fly high and proud.